service hub, and many Fortune 500 companies are preferring Indian IT companies to cater to their business IT needs. IT requires domain skills, cutting edge project management, quality control, change management, along with great focus on soft skills which improves customer space satisfaction and aligns with geography specific needs. Today we are joined by Mr. Ashish Jain, who is Global Head of Adweb Solution, which is providing IT solutions across the globe, not just to the Fortune 500 companies, but to SMEs and startups as well. Ashish ji, we welcome you on SBA Gujarat chapter.
Thank you, Vijay, so much for having me at this chapter. Thank you.
So, Ashish ji, first question I would like to ask you is, uh, IT industry has become a poster child of globalization for last 2-3 decades, and world has come closer because of the IT services. So, what do you have to say about has IT made a world a global village per se? What are the pros and cons of development in IT industry?
Yes, the 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 point is very true. The IT definitely has made the world a global village. I completely agree and am aligned with this thought because if you look at a couple of decades ago, if you go back the pre-internet era wherein the tech was not that efficient and effective, uh, the connectivity was a massive challenge. And as the technology evolved with the telephone usage, with the mobile phone usage, and then the era of internet, so if you look at this entire journey, it has made the world a more closer place. Gone are the days when I need to send a picture and it will take X amount of days or weeks. And today it's just a matter of click and just hit the send button, and your image can reach to any part of the world, or any document can reach to any part of the world in a matter of seconds. So this connectivity, this connectivity comfort that has came with IT has definitely made world uh, a true global village. I completely agree with this.
Ashish, I succinctly remember the era of 2000 when there was large hoopla around Y2K bubble. Like come 2000, like everybody's system is going to crash, and there would be so much inconveniency for businesses to run on the IT services. So can you say that Y2K was the the point of influx for the Indian IT services to become the global outsourcing preferred destination to provide IT services across the globe?
Indeed, that was instrumental. That was one of the milestone. That was an instrumental aspect that changed the entire picture of how IT was getting uh, the the strong presence in India. Yes, Y2K boom was the changing factor.
Do you remember what were you doing during that particular period of time?
Yeah, I I was in school, and I was quite confused on what this is, why this is, and what impact, and why am I concerned? Why am I even reading this kind of news? What impact would it make on my life? I'm not at all concerned because there were limitation of everything in terms of access to the information, in terms of uh, access to gadgets, in terms of access to everything.
Right.
The life was very focused, or in a cocoon of your own comfort or your own village,
Right.
wherein you might not have insights about what is happening around the world. And essentially we were not concerned as well.
Correct.
But a lot of things were happening in the news, and we were like, there were limited news channels as well, by the way, in those days. So,
Right.
and we were like, we are not sure what this is and why this is. And then
Right.
eventually when I got into engineering college, I was able to connect that this is something was happening in those days, and now it is making more sense to me as I am growing up.
So in the hindsight, Y2K was a very big event for the IT per se. But while making your career decision, Y2K did not played
No,
any major role, right?
no, it wasn't. It was just
So
one of the factor that I considered of becoming an IT engineer. Like
okay,
it made me at least consider that option as a career direction. But I was at that time still was not sure whether this is something that I'm gonna do.
so when did it become clear in your mind that you want to carry forward your career journey in the IT industry?
Uh, when I graduated in 2005, like in uh, going back to a bit like in little earlier phase of my life, I realized that I wanted to do engineering because I was intrigued to explore that aspect. I was not too much into. My father is into clothing business, and I was not that much inclined in that aspect. And that is where, and coming from a family which is completely related to clothing industry, it was engineering was not an easy choice for me. But I was clear that I am definitely not made for this clothing industry, and I'm going to choose engineering as my career path. Until that point as well, IT was not on the
In the
place.
picture, okay. Hmm.
Yeah, not at all.
Hmm.
And by qualification, you'll be surprised, I'm an electrical engineer.
Okay,
So I chose electrical, and in every semester there used to be 6 subjects, out of which 5 was compulsory and 6 subject was optional. So
right.
in every semester, that optional subject that I chose was always related to computer software.
Okay,
To ensure that I keep on exploring my other stuff, that okay, this is what IT is offering, because until that time also the career path was not very clear about
clear.
how IT would gonna shape up, because I
Correct.
started my college in 2001
Hmm.
and we were too early, and that's where I was comfortable with electrical engineering, kind of safe bet
Right.
in a way compared to what is upcoming. So
Hmm.
electrical, mechanical, and civil were the
The core
safe lane
branches and
core
the
branches.
career choices were quite safe compared to other branches.
Right. So that was the reason we I chose IT, electrical engineering, and uh, software was one of the subject that I chose as an optional subject, as a sixth subject in every semester,
Right.
and that's where my connect got started.
Hmm.
But when I graduated in 2005, I coincidentally landed job in Dell Computers.
Okay.
So that was my first connect with professional IT services.
Right.
And then I never looked back. I never opted for any other job opportunity in electrical or mechanical, because I was already somehow related with IT due to my optional subjects and during my engineering. And that's how my IT career got started.
So Ashish, you work with various MNCs, Mastec, Dell, just after graduation. So when did it you hit you that you should start your own venture rather than working for big MNCs? It's actually comfortable space. It's a very safe zone for the from the career prospect. uh, you know so when did
Right.
you realize that you should step out of the comfort zone and start doing your own venture?
Well, that was again an accident. It was not a planned journey.
Okay.
To be honest, I was very comfortable, as you rightly said, in my jobs. Whether in Dell, I left job at Dell because I wanted to pursue my masters,
Okay.
but I couldn't get into the A grade colleges that I wanted to get into. So I
Hmm.
dropped that idea of doing masters and got back into job search industry and joined Mastec Limited, which is a NS Nasdaq listed company, and then I lost my job in recession,
Okay.
and I was jobless
This was
for
2008 9.
9, yeah,
Ah, hmm.
4th Feb 2009. I
Hmm.
lost my job, and 9th November 2009 I got a job. So between Feb to November I was absolute jobless
Okay.
in those days. So, but I was not. I was determined. Like in the time will change. Let's
Yeah,
let's
of
let's
course.
keep calm. Let's keep calm. This night is getting little bigger than the usual nights. It's okay.
Right. Right.
There will be day. There will be sunlight. It will take some time because the
Hmm.
whole the entire world is going through this. It's not only me. So
Right.
things will improvise. So after that, I joined Allscripts, a US-based healthcare company. So in my entire career, I've been working with all the MNCs, and I never switched any job.
Right.
Like, and I somehow feel that, like, nothing against anyone. It's everybody's personal career choice. But I felt that I'm not switching job anywhere. I'm happy with the team members that I work with, my managers, my peers, my colleagues. It was
Right.
always great working experience. I left job at Dell because I wanted to pursue MBA.
Correct.
Then I lost my job in Mastech because of recession. Then I
Right.
left Allscripts because I wanted to start Adweb. And how we started, it was an interesting story wherein it was a common friends gathering.
Hmm.
Engineering friends were gathered, and we were having some conversation about our experience of IT industry and other aspects. And we
Hmm.
realized that somewhere down the line, and it was 7 years while we were into IT industry by that time,
Yeah.
and we realized that there is a huge gap between the demand and the quality of the supply.
Ajay, just
I'm
give
not.
me the back. Just give me the backstory. So give me some background about your friends, with which you were discussing this thing.
Okay, so one of my friends, so the group was big, but I'll
Okay.
just include my co-founders' friends.
Hmm.
One of his name is Rajiv Agarwal,
Okay.
and he's also my engineering friend. And another friend's name is Saurabh Dhariwal. He is
Okay.
also my engineering friend, and we are three co-founders actually.
Okay. Okay.
And then there were multiple other people as well.
Right.
Rajiv belonged to, again, a business class family, and Saurabh belonged to uh, a professional family. His father is a retired IAS officer, and
Okay.
uh, so we were just sitting in the evening, and we were just talking about the kind of work that we were doing in our industry. You know, the old
Hmm.
friends gathering. When you meet
Yeah.
your old friends, you talk about what has happened, how life has changed after the
Correct.
college, when you get married, and you talk about a lot of other things. So you have
Right.
that friendship bond intact, and when you're meeting after such a long time, you have a
Hmm.
lot of things to share and explore and talk.
Hmm.
So in those conversations, we started that when we were sharing each other's work experiences, we realized that more or less this is something, a common aspect, that the demand is definitely there
Right.
and the supply is also there. The problem
Hmm.
is not with the supply, the problem is with the quality of that supply.
Hmm.
So if we somehow cater to that missing box, cater to that missing element in
Hmm.
this,
Hmm.
we might stand a chance.
Hmm.
Again, it was pure casual conversation, and nothing serious about it.
Right.
We were like, yeah, this is something that we could possibly think about.
Correct. It was
But then
more of
again,
like a Chai Pe Charcha sort of stuff, or like
Chai Pe
whatever.
Charcha. Yeah, in the evening it was
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of conversation. But then we were like, okay, fair enough. We'll see
Hmm.
how it goes.
Hmm.
And then after 2 days, when we were back at our base locations, when we were back at our places, like, I
Normal
was living
lives.
in Pune, normal lives and the job, and
Hmm.
we just this conversation was not an official meeting, so everything faded away, and we were back to our normal lives. We were doing our work and everything. But
Correct.
one of our friend, Rajiv Agarwal, he took it seriously,
Hmm.
and he kept on taking the follow-ups, that okay, we discussed this aspect, where do we stand, what are the progress, let's
Okay.
define the action items, you handle this thing, you handle that thing. And we were like, are you are crazy, like, just be practical.
Right.
We are having some amount of responsibilities in our life now. We are safe in our job, and it's not that easy to get a stable, a good job with good pay and
Hmm.
good comfort and good reputation and everything. Like, and I was very sad, and but he was adamant that
Right.
no, we talked about it. Let's give it a try.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we will do it. What I'm saying is we will give it a try. Let's give it a try, a small try. Let's test
Hmm.
the waters at least. Let's
Hmm.
not drop it.
Hmm.
And he constantly kept on
Nudging you that we should.
nudging us, and he somehow persuaded us.
Okay.
he won that conversation. That okay, fair enough. Let's give it a try. How
Hmm.
do you want it to happen? So we started uh, virtually, wherein Rajiv was living in Ahmedabad, Saurabh was living in Jaipur, and I was living in Pune
Right.
in a virtual manner. And I used to come to my home at around two, half past two in the morning, two
Hmm.
thirty a.m. And I start. Then I start. Then I used to start the adweb work at around 3 o'clock until
Hmm.
7:30, and then Rajiv used to wake up at around 6:30, and then he will take it from me, and then he'll
Okay.
continue the work whole day. And Saurav will start from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. So it's like we were
So you were
working
working in three shifts.
almost round the clock. Yeah, almost
Wow.
24 hours. If not 24, I would say 22, 20, 22 hours easily for at least, I think, approximately 3 to 4 months. We worked in that manner
Wow.
without telling anyone. I mean, nobody was aware what we were doing, not even our family members, that what we
Acha.
were up, because we
Your
were
family
not,
members even didn't knew that, that's your.
nobody,
Okay.
nobody. We were like, let's see how it shapes up. Let's see
Okay.
how it turns up, because we were also not convinced with ourselves that whether we could actually do it.
So it was during that period of time, it was not yet a venture, it was a side hustle. You can say that.
It was a side hustle. We were not legally incorporated,
Okay.
and we were just on the web. We were just having our virtual presence, no
Right.
real office, no on paper, anything, nothing,
Right. Right.
no
Right.
bank account, nothing. So because we were not convinced with ourselves, we doubted our abilities, to be honest, on a
Understood.
serious note.
Okay.
uh, we were a little skeptic about the fear of failure, actually, by overpowered our confidence in our abilities.
Correct. Correct. So what
So
was the
that,
biggest fear at that time? Like, you were technically well versed. Rajiv knew the business side. So what particular area you were fearful about, that, you might not be able to cater to that particular side of the business?
uh, that's a good question. The very much fear was the comfort of job security.
Acha, okay. So
You know
your
what?
life was quite sad, and you were thinking, if this thing does not work out, we may eventually lose where we are standing right now. So it was, like a fear of failure, of losing what you have.
Yeah, that was the fear of failure, of losing what we have achieved so far with our efforts in our life. Because
Hmm.
I was working as a team lead
Hmm.
in that organization, and I was due to be sent overseas for a couple of months for assignment. It was
Right.
obviously a great opportunity to be sent in that manner, and a lot of things were there on my plate from career growth perspective.
Correct.
And you essentially, so I essentially was in my comfort cocoon,
Right. Right. Right.
that things are going well. Why
Hmm.
to deviate? Why to unnecessarily nudge when things are
Yeah.
going well? So
Why to erase everything which you have written till now and start a fresh
right,
note on a fresh slate?
we were not sure what we will be earning and how much we will be earning, or whether we will be earning at all or not.
Right.
So absolute clueless, complete dark room that we were getting into, and that is why we didn't even
So
inform our.
looking back, do you think that particular fear was uh, rightful, or it was overstated in you?
To an extent, overstated.
Okay.
Yes, it was rightful, because there was a risk, but again, a calculated risk, and
Correct.
we were glad we took that risk. It's like, so what made us decide to that factor that yes, we gotta give it a try was, I have somewhere read that famous quote. I don't know who said this, but I'm not able to. I'm able to recollect that quote, which is, "I want to repent the risks that I take in my life,
Hmm.
rather than the risks that I do not take." So that was the factor that got me going, that okay, let's go for it. We'll see
Right.
how it shapes up. Yeah, I mean, you need to take that courage, that okay, let's jump into the pool. We'll see how it turns out to be. I mean,
Correct.
enough of fear. You just gotta have that. you just got to have that moment of taking that first step, that let's go for it, we'll see what will happen,
Correct.
what worst could happen, what in the worst case scenario what will happen, we'll
Hmm.
come back to job. That's the worst case scenario,
Right.
and that is okay. We still have time in our life, so we can think about it, no problem.
Correct.
And I had a very good relationship with our team members, with my managers, and they literally, I mean, one of my manager literally said that if it's life, you never know, if things don't go well, just don't
Right.
apply for any job in the job market, just give me a call and I'll be happy to get you back in my team. So,
Great.
and I was like, thank you for being my safety net.
Right. Right. Right.
So you meet people in your journey of life, and you learn from them. You build relationships, and when you hear such statements, it helps you to take your decisions of life as well. That okay, I have my safety net as well, just in case
Right.
if nothing happens. If I fall down, I have someone to take it
To
from
lean
me as
upon.
well.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So, Rajiv, Ashish, tell me, when did AdWebs become a, like, a full-time venture? Uh, and
So in
what was the
January,
what was the point of time when you decided that now it's time to uproot from wherever you were set and then start boarding on the train called AdWeb Solution?
yeah. So we were virtual from January 2012 to March 2012,
Right.
and in April we started getting serious about it. In May, I discussed with my manager, and I got relieved from my job in June.
Mhm.
And July 2012, we got legally incorporated
Okay.
as private limited IT company in Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
So, any particular reason you chose Ahmedabad for the place to be?
Yeah, couple of factors. Gujarat, I believe, is comparatively friendly state in terms of doing business,
Hmm.
and the overall culture over here at this place. People are uh, easygoing and professional. They are not rigid
Right.
and hard to deal with. They
Mhm.
understand the business aesthetics, which made us easier. Plus, the government policies, even like they are favorable now as well, but those days as well, they were very favorable to small startups like us, and
Right.
it helped us. And that was the professional, and the personal reason was it was a mid town, like in between my hometown in Rajasthan as well as my in-laws place in Mumbai. So
Okay.
more or less it's a center point, one night
Right.
journey at either side, and we reach at any of our parents
So
place.
geographic conveniency also, played a role in choosing
Ve-
Ahmedabad as a business center for you guys.
Very much it did, yes.
So, Ashish, you have offices in Jaipur, Ahmedabad, I think USA as well, Ethiopia. You started operations recently.
Right,
So,
yeah.
how do you handle such diverse workforce?
uh, to be honest, it is challenging. I'll be very clear, very honest with you. To be honest, it is challenging, but at the same time, we, what we have observed is that this diversity also brings on some strength.
Right.
So challenges are there, but the strength that this diversity brings is of great value.
Okay.
uh, People working in different culture, people working in different time zone, these are something beyond our control. We cannot
Right.
control the time zone, we cannot control the culture. uh, Usually we have observed when you communicate effectively with the remote team members in a very
Right.
clear manner, when you eradicate or eliminate any assumptions and clarify things, it helps in effective work management. And since we are providing global solutions to our global clients, which means our clients are based in different time zones, so having team members in different time zones have actually helped our clients for
Hmm.
better overlapping with their time zones.
Right.
And now we are used to work in a manner wherein more or less we, the team members, any team that we formulate for any project, they
Right.
are very well aware about the time zone of the other person that is not in our geography. Ahmedabad,
Right.
Jaipur is in the same geography, no problem.
Yeah.
But in Ethiopia or in US, since they are from different geography, so people have now started realizing that okay, you are in the Pacific coast, you are in the Central Coast, you are 3.5 hours behind India time. So
Right.
they set up their meetings, their planned
According.
meetings according to their availability. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, at any point of time, do you feel that managing the teams across the geographies becomes stressful per se? Because, people will coming with a different cultural background, people coming with, as you said, with different time zones, people coming from different educational backgrounds. Obviously, the the hard skills, IT skills, would be more or less similar across the globe, but soft skill will vary according to the geography. So, do you think it poses any sort of challenges? And if it does, what sort of strategies you utilize to overcome those challenges?
Oh, very much. The challenges are very much when it comes to, you rightly said, skills are more or less similar, but the cultural differences, challenges are very much. Uh, we just need a bit of patience to accommodate to their challenge, to their culture, is what we have learned. Wherein they are also into the organization to deliver, to perform, to earn their livelihood,
Right,
and the onus is on us to give them the needful time to settle.
right,
So our onboarding time that we provide to those team members is something clearly defined, clearly planned, that okay, initial few weeks,
mhm,
these new joinees from different geographies
mhm,
would be doing these activities,
right,
like but not limited to: number one, interacting with the HR people, knowing about the company process and policies, knowing about the company communication tools, knowing about the company history, going through the company's website, reading about company's past projects, mingling with the team members, sharing some personal ideas, thoughts, cultural values. Once they start feeling that level of connect,
right,
which obviously will take a couple of weeks for any new joinee, whether within premises or whether in any other part of the world. We just need to ensure that they feel connected with the team.
right,
Once they are able to connect, once they have that sense of belonging, that yes, I now understand what my company is doing, and I now understand my position into this project with the skill set that I am bringing onto the project, it will be comparatively now easier, because uh, I have heard interesting stories wherein people have organized remote meetings wherein they are having some remote conversations, other than professional conversations as well. That okay, what do you guys do in your wedding ceremonies? What kind of culture you follow? What kind of
right,
food activities you? How do you cook? What's your national drink? We drink tea a lot. Kind of
right.
conversation. So people in India as well are also excited to know about their culture,
Obviously, right,
and they feel good about talking about their culture and knowing about our culture. It obviously is little time consuming in the initial few weeks, but
mhm,
once it gets going,
right.
it is amazing diversity, amazing team bonding that helps us deliver project successfully.
So it's like sharing of cultural values in a way
Very
like decreases the distance between the teams as well. Like people come closer and they work as a group rather than individuals coming from different geographies. So,
very true.
right, right, great. So, like, I would like to ask you something. I was going through your website
Mhm.
and I realized that you guys have worked on Modiji's remarkable Chai Pe Charcha project as well.
Oh yes,
You were
how can
in,
you forget those days? The
and
sleepless nights.
yes, yes, and
uh,
you have also worked with promotion of Statue of Unity.
yes.
So, tell us something about your experience with these two projects, or any other remarkable projects you would like to, share your insights and experience with us.
Okay. Well, you have done quite a good amount of research about AdWeb, I must say. So, uh, yes, Chai Pe Charcha was chaipecharcha.com was our baby, and so one fine day I got an email somewhere in December 2013 that with the subject line require vendor for website development,
Right.
and the mail reads, "Hi, this is so and so from Citizens from Accountable Governance. We are a non-profit organization working in socio-political sector.
Mm-hmm.
We will be providing campaign management support for Mr. Modi in general elections 2014." And the
Okay.
moment I read that line, I was like, this is huge.
Right.
Let me reread this again. And I reread that and I was like, okay, is that a spam email? Let me check, let me validate its authenticity. I did my homework and I'm like, no, this is real. This is
Mm.
coming.
Mm.
Okay, so you get goosebumps, you become nervous, a lot of mixed feelings. And I
Right.
immediately replied to that email within 15 minutes that yes, we are keen to associate. What's the plan? And they invited us to Gandhinagar actually.
Okay.
We went to Gandhinagar and we briefed them about our abilities and offerings and addressed their lots of questions. So the session took approximately close to 1.5 hours. I still remember. It
So.
was uh, air-conditioned room, but
Mm-hmm.
we were sweating. Me and my co-founder Saurabh were there. We were sweating because the group of delegates that were sitting in that room, they were highly qualified, and a lot of stress was there in that election duration,
Obviously.
and then lots of questions, bombardment was happening, and we were still 1.5-year-old baby in the market.
Okay.
July 2012 we were born, and
In
December
2000.
2013
Right.
we went to Gandhinagar. So we
Okay.
were just 1.5-year-old baby, and nobody gave a damn to us. So this was obviously big, but then since we were too small and too new, it was eventually very big for us.
Obviously.
Uh, so after immense amount of grilling, we
Mm.
were like, man, this was just an amazing experience wherein they asked lots of questions about our abilities, how will we handle this kind of stress, our team's capacity, whether we have this capacity to handle this kind of work or not, or whether we possess the capabilities to handle this kind of workload or not, and what not. Lots
Mm.
of things. The only positive factor that went in our favor was our past experience that we have learned, that they realized that we we were not someone who were born yesterday and without any experience. We, although Adweb is younger, but we still
Mm.
carry good amount of experience in other organizations. So we are mature professionals. That's what
Right.
the kind of operation that we were able to create. We couldn't change our age, which was Adweb 1.5 years old.
Obviously.
We lost that. We lost that to
Okay.
obviously some big names. It was
Mm.
clear that they did not find us eligible. After 3 weeks, I got another email from the same guy
Okay.
that we want to meet you. Are you available? And I'm like, yes, we are. What's
Right.
the plan? And
Mm.
can you visit Gandhinagar today or sometime in this week? I said, okay. How about today first half? And they agreed. I canceled
Mm.
everything on that day. We went there, me and Saurabh
Mm.
again, that okay, let's
Mm.
go again to that same
Mm.
place. Let's get grilled again and let's see how it goes. But that time the grilling was not there. They were very
Okay.
clear that between the very big names that we have coordinated with during our vetting process, you were among the shortlisted ones, very closer, but you couldn't win the contract. But now we want to give a try with a
Right.
small stuff.
Okay.
And वहां से they gave us the opportunity to work on chaipecharcha.com.
Okay.
So the website was in a very bad shape when we took it over from the previous vendor, and
Mm-hmm.
so this organization name is Indian CAG, Indian
Mm.
Citizens for Accountable Governance,
Right. Right.
and Indians. So we were dealing with Indian CAG, and Indian
Mm.
CAG was dealing with the campaigning for Modiji, and Chai Pe Charcha was one of the campaign, and the .com was something that we were handling. We got that project from a different vendor, and I clearly asked that be honest, be candid with me, where are the lacking points, so I know that because this is a very big opportunity for us, and
Obviously.
I want to
Right.
ensure that we do the needful justice with this, because this would gonna change uh, the course of lives for many people. I mean,
Obviously,
it
and it was a watershed movement in Indian polity. So you were
it
working
was.
in one of the, like, I would say once in a 3 decades or 5 decades, I would say once in a century sort of project, I would say. It won't be
It
like
was.
overstated
It,
thing to say.
it was. No, no, not at all. It was because the impact that it would gonna create to the
Correct.
lives of millions of people. Can you like
Obviously.
it was an amazing thing for us. So we were so engrossed and involved into it. I still remember those sleepless nights. We used to work full night as well. Their team used to visit our office, which was very small, and still they happily accommodated themselves to our offices. The good part was, again, another reason why we chose Ahmedabad, by the way,
Okay.
good electricity. So
Right.
the electricity was consistent, the internet speed
No,
was
no
amazing.
load shedding, as we are like,
When there
we
is
hear
an
about it.
Not at all. Whenever there is an electricity cut, it becomes a news in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat. And then
Exactly.
there are places wherein if there is if there is an electricity for few hours, it becomes a news. So
Right. Very
we were
well said.
for- we were fortunate to have that constant supply of electricity and internet. That are the two key ingredients for our industry.
Correct.
And other than the skills, so they came to our offices as well, and they saw how passionate and involved we as co-founders were as well. It was not
Correct.
purely the team is doing and we are just billing them.
Correct.
And that is where they realized that why don't you guys take on our other projects as well. So they
Okay.
started with their own website maintenance, which was Indian CAG own
Hmm.
website. And later on, the very next week, we got that Statue of Unity movement website as well.
Okay.
So the Statue of Unity campaign was that they were, at that time I remember, they were planning to collect iron pieces from all the different
Farmers.
parts of the of India, all the farmers, and that is where they will be creating the statue of the great Sardar Patel, and that's where we were like, man, this is going big, big and bigger. Wow.
Right.
So yeah, the energy, the passion, all the sleepless nights, the snacks, the food, the dinner, the meals that we skipped, they were all worth because of the knowledge, the learning, the impact that our work was creating in the society. And the team, interestingly, on a fun note,
Hmm.
team members who were working on the project, they also felt very proud because by that time their society members also started recognizing that, oh, I don't know the Gujarati. These are the guys who are working on Chai Pe Charcha. You know, oh,
આજ લોકો છે કે તમે કામ કરો છો આના ઉપર.
તમે કામ કરો છો. Oh, wow, wow, great. So they were feeling that sense of proud that yes, this is, so
Correct,
we are
correct.
doing it. So yes,
So
this.
they become sort of, local celebrity among the groups as well.
Oh, they did absolutely, and they were like role model as well. And I'm sure that many people have seen them as a role model and possibly chose IT as their career path. That wow, if we happen to work in IT, we get chance to work on these kind of great technological projects as well, possibly.
Correct,
So,
correct, 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 correct. Rajiv, somebody said, like, you only need an idea to start your own entrepreneurship journey.
right,
This may not be true for lots of sector, I would say, like for manufacturing or for another industries where huge capex is needed upfront. But like even IT also, you require certain sort of capital to start with. But compared with other capital intensive industry, IT may require less sort of capital.
right.
Is it it would be right to say like that risk and rewards are a bit higher in IT industry compared with other industries?
So your question is like about the idea to start like in a.
Like my question is like, would it be easier for somebody to start a venture in IT field compared to other industries per se, like manufacturing or other sectors? Like challenges are there, I would say. Challenges are rightly there for every industry, but if you compare for absolute figures, for absolute risk and absolute rewards, the risk and reward ratio would be little bit lower in IT, where risks are low, rewards are a bit high.
Yes, comparatively, yes. I am not that. I'm not having that much insights about the other industries, but yes, in IT industry, the investment is
Right.
the skills that we build. So that is where one of the key factor that the small and the very young organization like us got the huge project like Chai Pe Charcha.
Right.
It was the skills that we have developed over the course of consistent efforts over the course of years
Hmm.
that helped us to have a very refined approach towards our presentation, towards our project execution, towards our process that we have learned over the course of time. So true, the risk and reward ratio is comparatively better, uh, but again, I mean, it is better when you have that level of skills.
Obviously.
It's very much skill oriented industry.
So, say for example, some fresher just out of college approaches you today and say, Ashish, I want to start an IT company.
Hmm.
What advice will you give?
uh, well, that's a good question. Uh, Starting is not the problem.
Hmm.
Sustainability and scalability is the problem.
Right.
We can the idea could be great. We can start things. That is not a big deal. Starting is not of a problem. The problem would be because once you start an organization, you need to understand that there will be a lot of people who will be working with you. So
Correct.
सबको साथ में लेके चलना, taking everybody together is the key to success. How you execute that idea, how you channelize your enthusiasm and energy,
Hmm.
how you keep going consistently and constantly
Hmm.
with the failures, with the success, everything.
Right.
That is what matters. So my recommendation would be definitely it's a great opportunity, but do not forget to bounce back when you fell down.
Right.
That consistency needs to be there.
Correct.
Yep.
Ashish, Corona has disrupted many businesses. I come from finance industry, and it was a huge shock when we were hit by this thunderbolt or Corona. Everything, like the world became standstill.
Yep.
Many industries with their set business models got dusted with the storm which we were faced upon.
Right.
But IT industry per se, it it was a like blessing in disguise. The Corona become blessing in disguise for IT industry because many processes which may could have taken like years to digitalize or years to to go uh, on the remote workplaces spontaneously and then within a very short period of time went to like to the digitization phase and the transformation become very speedy. So how was your experience of like work handling an IT organization during Corona period? That's first question. And a supplementary question to that is, in a way, like when everything has went to mobiles and computers, education too, sort of was being handled on mobiles and computers remotely,
Hmm.
and we have come across many like horrible side effects of such things in the children and younger ages as well. So
Right.
this were the downside of going like doing everything on internet.
Right.
How can we address that as well? So there are this the primary question and then the supplementary question, if you would like to answer that.
So, okay. Uh, yeah, so I'll just rephrase your question. Number one is the how our IT organization dealt with that pandemic's sudden landsliding that
Correct.
impacted the entire world. And
Right.
the question number, the supplementary question is related to the
Downside of.
downside of this too much technology invasion into our
Correct.
lives.
Correct. Correct.
Right. Okay. Uh, well, this was an unfortunate once in a century pandemic that has disrupted lives of billions of people, not millions, but billions of people across the globe. Uh, from IT's standpoint, yes, you rightly said it was a kind of blessing in disguise, wherein the digital transformation has taken a very strong adoption curve, ideally, which wouldn't have been feasible in many more years to come.
Right.
People have started realizing the importance of technology. Very true, it was the case. We also initially felt the jerk when this pandemic hit and when all of these activities happened, wherein a couple of our projects also went on pause, and a lot of companies we heard they were squeezing their size, were laying off, and salary cuts and everything, because everything was
Yes.
in a very instant, and very people were unclear that what lies ahead.
Correct.
We were coincidentally fortunate enough that we were able to pay every single employee every penny that we owe
Great.
in a regular manner, as
Okay.
small as an office admin staff as well, even though they were not coming to office. But since they were having a family to feed, we were still constantly paying them the salaries.
Okay.
That it's okay. आप पैसे लो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप जब ऑफिस खुले तब वापस आ जाना, दैट इज ओके.
Right.
Everybody is going through the hardships. So those ethics were there with us कि निकालना नहीं है हमें किसी को भी, as far as we can afford.
Right.
So things started changing in a matter of few months, wherein IT adoption was getting increased with time, and we were getting back on track. So yes,
Right.
initially we were also having that we also faced that flack of that pandemic, but eventually we bounced back, and not just we, but the overall IT industry bounced back, and there were a lot of digitization happening, and that is where we were able to uh, thrive upon. uh,
Right.
and uh, so yeah, so that was the first point from organization standpoint. That's how we dealt with the pandemic. And uh, in terms of uh, intrusion of technology in our private lives, I believe this is something a very sorry state, being from a technology background, coming from a as a technology professional. I believe that yes, it has its downsides as well, wherein the screen time has increased, especially for the kids, uh, wherein they are too engrossed into smartphones, and as a result of which their eyesight is getting impacted, and these kind of mental and physical side effects, that they are glued to the screen, whether for their school homework, whether for their online classes, or whether for their any school related activity. In fact, the dance classes, the cultural craft classes, everything was getting online. Technology helps, but this was too much of intrusion, and I personally do not feel that as a long term solution. It could be a makeshift temporary arrangement. Now that thankful to our uh, uh, huge campaign, I believe almost 2 billion vaccination doses has been
Yes.
covered. So thanks to the technology. Now, technology has a positive side as well. That COVID application example,
Yes. Hmm.
it's a brilliant example of how technology can be used for making a great impact. A pandemic that could hit once in a century,
Right.
and with the help of this kind of technology, the COVID app, even I have it in my smartphone as well.
Hmm.
You are able to track everything and maintain it, and so smoothly, so
Correct.
effortlessly. Things have been. I'm sure the immense amount of efforts have gone in the offline in the real world, but with the help of this technology, example Cowin, the app, we are able to track 1 point like in almost 2 billion, 1.9 billion doses administered via tracked via this COVID applications.
Yes,
That's a
yes.
great example of technology. But makeshift arrangements of online classes and everything are now were now understandable. But now I believe and playing in the real world instead of too much engrossed into the digital world.
Right, 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 right.
And I
Um,
remember Steve Jobs also never allowed his daughter the smartphone, even though
yeah, yeah.
he was gave iPhone to
He
the
correct, correct, correct. He knows his product very well, I guess.
world. Very true. He knows his product very well. That
Yeah,
it is very tempting. Very true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we are reaching to the fag end of the interview. Like
Okay.
like recently, I was coming across a few newspaper cuttings and headlines where I
Mhm.
was saying that for the post of Pune, where there are like 200 openings, there were around 80,000 applications. Then there was
Hmm.
uh, recruitment for the class for clerks, where there were like 100 openings and there were around 120,000 applications. In our country, I guess we reward the secure cash flow over the uncertainty of the entrepreneurship. And you, in your journey, uh, stated that the preliminary inhibition you had was coming
Right.
out of the comfort zone,
Right.
and that sort of same feeling might be running across the feelings of youth as well. So
Right.
what sort of message you want to give to such youth, uh, that like how can they overcome such anxieties about the job security, or about the security in life in a general manner, and by overcoming their inhibition about getting a good life via government job. Rather than doing that, they should adopt entrepreneurship as a path of career.
Well, I also wanted to have a government job just to give you a good, honest input. I wanted to be into Indian Air Force.
Okay.
I tried for that as well, but I
Hmm.
couldn't make it. And then I tried for Indian Navy as well. I couldn't
Right.
make it. So a couple of failed attempts. Then I realized that okay, let's focus on what I am good at. I perhaps not good into that, but there must be something that I'm good at. So वहाँ focus
Right.
करते हैं. And that's where that's how I got this into IT and everything. The the sense of insecurity will always be there. Nothing is secure. We need to understand, and we need to put in our efforts, whether we are into government job or a private or an entrepreneur.
Right.
Coming to your core point, that what kind of advice would I would gonna give is, you know, you when you are young, you have entire life in front of you, which means you have time to at least allow yourself to explore up to great extent and come out of your fear zone. The life would be different.
Right.
You will either succeed, or if you fail you will learn.
Exactly.
In
Right.
both the cases, those would be great stepping stones in shaping up your life's destiny. For example, this recent what I would say uh, military scheme,
Recruitment. Agniveer.
Agniveer. That is
Hmm.
one of the very great example of how you could learn discipline, channelize your energy into a right manner. So
Obviously.
come out of your comfort zone. Life is not secure. Nothing is secure.
Not
It
even
is
government job are secure. Like
not
they government
not
officers do have their own challenges in their service.
every aspect of work that you are into will have its own set of challenges. The
Obviously.
grass is greener always on the other side.
Correct.
But you need to understand that the world is full of problems, the world is full of opportunities, and these problems are opportunities. All you need to do is, I'll give you a glimpse of a small instance that I've read. A pen and a piece of paper and a pen was given to Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, the two, one of the two, a few of the two richest billionaires in the world, and they were asked to write the secret of their success. And then they collected the paper. The answer was exactly similar,
Hmm.
and they did not copy each other's answers. And it was just one word
Okay.
that I would also like to pass it on this message, which
Hmm.
is focus.
Hmm.
नींद, खाना, girlfriend breakup, सब भूल जाओ. If you want to do something, just have faith in that, make that idea of your life, dream of it, think of it, live of that idea. Let the brain, body, muscles, nerves, every part of your body have that focused only on that idea. Just
Right.
leave everything else. मतलब आप पूरे पैशन के साथ में उसके अंदर अगर लगते हो,
Hmm.
there are heavy chances you will succeed,
Hmm.
but with your full heart.
Conviction.
If you do it
Hmm.
half-heartedly, yes, with your clear passion, you go for it, and you will definitely make something out of it. You will definitely carve your identity. The life is full of opportunities. All you need to do is to ensure that you stay focused.
Correct. Correct. Uh, we at Swavlambi Bharat Abhiyan are trying to sort of generate awareness about entrepreneurship as a career path among the youths, among the students. So in that regard, we are meeting with entrepreneurs, and today we are meeting with you. Any particular message you want to have to Swavlambi Bharat Abhiyan team?
Sure. So I've been to numerous countries, I think approximately 25, 26 countries by now, and I have interacted with a lot of different cultural people. I've seen that we have immense amount of skills and potential.
Right.
We are not we are not second to anyone.
Right.
It is our time to realize that we are second to none, and it is this is our time. We have all the needful skills. All we need is right focus and attention to achieve what we want to explore in our life.
Hmm.
Be hungry, be curious. I read that book, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish.
Same. Correct.
It is absolutely okay to explore. There were days when people used to take very safe career paths of being a doctor, being an engineer, being an MBA. But have a look at the kind of different career paths that people have started opting in the last many years. It has opened
Hmm.
immense amount of possibilities. So India is full of skills. It is just a matter of realization. Stay focused, create value, and rest everything will be byproduct. Whether success, whether money, anything. Just focus on enhancing your skills and creating values, and rest everything will follow.
Friends, one thing is clear: if you want to build a business, then you ought to start taking risks. Nothing gets built in the comfort zone. Think big and start
Not
working
at
on
all.
your think big and start working on your ideas as swiftly as possible with an aptitude to create synergy Your venture is bound to succeed. AdWeb Solution is a living example of such success. Thank you, Ashish ji, for your valuable time. Thank you.
I appreciate Vijayji for your time as well. Thank you so much. I hope people find this information helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.